I welcome you all back to this tutorial on A concept, research, writing, and data analysis. So today now I'll be showing you how to analyze a questionnaire. And during the course of the training, I told you what questionnaire is all about. Briefly, let me just tell us what questionnaire is all about. Questionnaire is one of the instruments that is used to collect data from the respondent. It involves several questions, and the questions can be open-ended and closed-ended. And the data collected from your respondent can be qualitative or quantitative. Your data is quantitative if it is a number or a numeric factor such as 10, 11, or in any continuous variable, and your data is qualitative if it is given in form of verbal or word. So now take for example your questionnaire has been administered now and you want to analyze the questionnaire. Good. So this is a typical example of the questionnaire. As we can see now, we have our name, we have the name of school. This is a questionnaire that I did for one of my clients. So we have the age. So this age now is what close-ended. We have the sex, we have the class, we have the religion, we have the period occupation. And if we move downward a little, we also have some questions that we call multiple choice questions. As we can see now, these are multiple choice questions. Sorry, let me clean that. These are multiple choice questions. On me. Yeah, so these are multiple choice question. As you can see here now, these are multiple choice question, and it is multiple choice question in the sense that the respondent have to choose. We have something that we call the strongly agree, disagree, and strongly disagree. So in each section under this multiple choice questions, the respondent have to choose all the questions and choose different options for it. Okay, so take for example now, let me use myself as a respondent. So this is the one I want to answer, that is the effect of home, schools, society, and governmental factor on adolescent abuse. So we have multiple questions. As you can see now, under this one you have like 7 questions, so they are multiple. So now the respondent can decide to choose this one, this, 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 and this. Take for example. So now the respondent have successfully answered these questions using the options given to him or her. Are we together? So now let's see how we can analyze this questionnaire. So how can we analyze it now? So, and I do tell us something, that your analytical tools will be determined by your objective. Yes, your analytical tools will be determined by your objectives. So take for example the objective number 1 for this research writing is to determine or to assess the personal data of the respondent. And once we are talking about to assess the personal data, that means you are trying to use descriptive analysis. That's what you are using. descriptive analysis. And once we are talking about descriptive analysis, it means that you are trying to get the frequency, the percentage, the mean, standard deviation, and etc. etc. That is what it means now. And our section A is the personal data we are working on. As you can see here, that is our section A. So now, how can we go about this? So, and I always tell us that there are some of the questions that are not really necessary for us to analyze. You might not need them if you want to analyze your data. Say for example now this um one this one here, that is the name of school. I don't really need it because it's not included in my objectives. So what I need is I will need number 2. This one is not included in my objectives, so there's nothing concern me with my with the respondent parent occupation because I'm dealing with students. So all I will need to analyze is the age. All I need to analyze is the age, that is the 2, the sex, the class, and there's nothing I want to do with religion based on what I'm dealing with. Nothing I want to do with religion, though there are some areas in your research that can demand you to do all the socioeconomic characteristics or the personal data. Now I'm dealing with students. That is why I'm limited to the personal data I will analyze altogether. So now, take for example, now your questionnaire has been retrieved. Okay, that means that you have collected the questionnaire, and the respondent choose, let me say, age. Now the respondent choose A, and then under tip the respondent choose A, and then under 4 the respondent choose 2. Now how are we going to go about it? Now the first thing we are going to do when you retrieve your questionnaire is what? You have to screen or scan through all the questionnaires. And what does that mean? It means that there are some respondents that won't know how to answer some questions. That is why they always advise that your questions must be more of close-ended than open-ended for easy analysis. Okay, so now once you scan through and you see that it is well answered, it is well organized, that is when you now come in the next phase. Now is coding. Coding, that is what you are doing next. And coding, what does that mean? Coding means that when you are trying to assign a particular number or a character to your options, or to your options, yes, the options given for that question. Okay, so that's coding. It's either you assign a character or a number, and number is also part of the character. Are we together? And Excel, let's go to Excel. Excel does not recognize any character like that when it comes to calculation. It's recognized number. This is Excel now, as you can see. This is Excel, as you can see now. So Excel does not recognize any character like that. Not that it does not work with any character, but when it comes to calculation, it deals with number. Are we together now? So let's make this easy for us to see. Okay, now I divided my screen so that you can able to understand what I'm doing. So now here, now your respondent choose A. Let's choose A here, and choose number 4, choose B. Now how can we analyze this one? So let's come to Excel part here. So as we all know, if you have been following our tutorial, you know that this is your column and this is your row, and this cell we are now, it is cell A1. So now We want to start our coding, and our first heading here, you must input the number of question so that you can able to identify your question easily. So I'm not dealing with the first one here. That is the name of school. It should be my Q1, but I'm not dealing with name of school. I don't need it. So now I'll move to Q2, which is the age. I move to Q2, which is the age now, which is the age. I'll move to Q2, which is the age of the respondent now. So that's what I'll be doing. So now Q2. So I can just put Q2 here. Q2. That means that I'm choosing Q2 now. That's what I'm working with. So my respondents choose A. So let us forget. Respondents choose what? A. A. Yeah. And what is this coding all about? So I want to code my age now. So if my respondents choose 13 to 15, I can represent that with 1. I can represent that with 1. And if my respondents choose B, I can represent that with 2. That means 15 to 20. And if my respondents choose C, that is 20 to 23, I can represent that with 3. I hope you are following me now. So this is the coding. This is the coding now, as you can see now. So this is the age. 13 to 15 now. If my respondents choose A, I represent it with 1. And if my respondents choose B, I represent it with 2. And if my respondents choose C, I represent it with 3. So I'm using number so that I'll be able to analyze the frequency of those respondents that choose one or the other option. Okay, so now let's move to the next one. So my respondent in this questionnaire choose A. My respondent in this questionnaire now choose A. For example, my respondent in this questionnaire now choose A. Yeah. So instead of me writing 13 to 15, because I already assigned a number or a code, and that is what is here. I already assigned a code, so that is what I will just input. I will just input 1. I will just input what? 1. As you can see now. So in this sense now, I will know that anywhere I see 1, it means that the respondent in that particular the respondent choose 13 to 15. That is what it means. So you can do as much as you want. So take for example now the next one under this place, choose 2. So let me just quickly do that. So I want us to work with just 10 respondents here now, just 10, so that we can able to do things as fast as we can. So now under the next one, and that is what we call the sex. If you can see now, this is the sex. That is the sex. That is our Q3. This one. That is our Q3. So now let's take for example the respondents choose male. So when we come to coding, I code my male to be 1 and my female to be 2. So as we can all see here now, this is it. So I code my male to be 1 and my female to be 2. Okay, so you can, it's not a must you follow male 1, female 2. You can decide to use male as 0, female as 1. Just know that this is the particular number or code used to represent this option. So that is the major point there. So now my Q2 now, or my Q3 rather, my Q3 would be, my Q3 now would be what? My sex of the respondent, Q3. So now take for example, no, the respondents choose A, that is 1. Okay, so now let's fill this up now. Yeah, so you can see that we already filled that up. Take for example, I'm working with just 10 respondents, so that is it. So I'm very sure that you'll be working on more than 10 respondents. Yes, you'll be working on more than 10 respondents. You can be working on 80, 50, 100, 200, depending on your supervisor and depending on your population size. Okay, so now the next one I'm going to do is the Q4. Q4, and what is there? My Q4 is what? That is the what? Class of the respondent. You know, I'm dealing with students, isn't it? That is the class of the respondent. That's my Q4. 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 Yeah. So now this Q4 now talks about the class. We have the SS1, SS2, SS3. So the same thing applicable to others. That is what you will use here. So my SS1, I can decide to code it as 1, SS2 as 2, and SS3 as 3. So take for example now my respondent here choose SS2. That is B. SS2, as we can see here, SS2. So now under here I will choose what? 2, because I use 2 to represent SS2 classes. Okay, so now let's just code the rest. So take for example the next questionnaire now, choose 1, that is SS1, 2, SS2, 3, SS3, 1, like that, like that, like that, like that. So just look at it and look at your questionnaire and start assigning what the respondents choose with what you use to represent it. That is your coding. Okay, so now the religion, it doesn't need it. It doesn't need it. Now, how can we get the descriptive analysis for this? That is what we are going to deal with now. So now, how can we get the descriptive, or how can we analyze this one using descriptive analysis? That is your first objective. We are trying to get the frequency, the percentage, and thereabout. So now let's put this one as our frequency. Frequency, that is frequency of let me assign this one as, let me take for example, I'm trying to get the H as our first one. H, this is the frequency, and let me use this one as the percentage. So now how can we get the frequency of this Q2? This is our Q2. I want to know the frequency. That means you want to know the total number of respondents that choose 1. You want to know the total respondent that choose 2. You want to know the total respondent that choose 3. So now this is how we go about it. There is a particular function. If you get familiar with that, you have been following us, that we call that count if function. This count if function helps us to calculate a particular criteria, to know the number of that particular criteria in your data set. Okay, so take for example now count if. There's your count if, and what's our range? Our range is from our A2 to A10. And I always tell us that if you cannot highlight, you can simply press the first cell on your data set, column, last cell. That is my A2. Where's your column? A11. So automatically it will highlight it here. As you can see this blue line, it will highlight the range. So you put comma, and what's our criteria? Our criteria is 1. That is, I want to know the number of respondents that choose 1, that their age are between 13 to 15, and that's our first option there. So you press enter. Good. So now this one is telling us 4. So let me just put 13 to 15 here, and put 15 to 17, and we have third one, I think 20 and above. 20 and above. You know, this one now covers the cell, so you can just come here and drag. Okay, now this one we are having what? 4. That is the respondent or student between that choose 13 to 15. So now the second one, you can also use drag and drop. That is using your autofill handle edge here. So but if you don't want to do that, you can come to this place. This is your formula bar, this particular place here. This is your formula bar here. So you can come to that place and copy this one, copy it, copy, and paste here. You know, it's still give you 4 because we are here to change the criteria. Now this one we are looking for 2, so just press 2. That is 5. That is 5 respondents choose 15 to 17. And same thing applicable to this place. You can still copy and change this one to 3. Yeah, so that is 1. Just 1 student choose 20 and above. Okay, and if you want to know the total, that if your listing is correct, you can just press your sum, and what highlight it surely give you the total number of the thing, that is 10. Now how can we get the percentage? If you have your thing here, how can we get the percentage? You know what percentage is all about now. So it is when you are dividing your answer over 100. Okay, so now how can we get the percentage? It's very simple. For every function or for every formula you are doing, make sure that you are starting with equal sign. That is the first instruction. So you press 4 over total. You know, this is your total, and just press 10 multiply by 100. That is 40. So you can use this one to drag and drop. Yeah, it's telling me this one because it's using this place to calculate it. So you can just change this one to 10. That's your total. You have your 50, and this one E8 to 10. So now altogether it surely give you 100. That will give you 100. Yeah, so you are done with calculating the frequency and percentage of that. So the same thing you will use for the sex of the respondents. Let's say for example, and this is the sex, and this is the male, this is the female. Yeah, so how are you going to go about this? The same function, count if your range, this is your range, comma, let's do for male, close our parenthesis, that is 6, and let's do for female. So automatically to give you 4. Now to give you 4, because that is what we are dealing with here. To give you 4, you know, it start from your B2 to what, B11. So now you change your criteria to 2. Yeah, that is 4. So to get the percentage is almost same thing. Equal sign, your 6 divided by 10 multiplied by 100. Yeah, that is 60. So you can use your autofill handle edge and draw to give you 40. So same thing applicable to your the class. Yes, the class. Let's quickly do that here. Class, I'm sure we can see that class. Or let me just move a little bit down. Okay, no, let me do it sideways. The class, you know, we have the SS1, we have SS2, we have SS3. Very good. So this thing is also applicable using your smartphone. You can use your smartphone to do all these things. are we together? You can use your smartphone to do all of this. All of this, you can use your smartphone because there is count if there are some basic functions on your smartphone using your spreadsheet. There's some more same function. So using the same function, count if function, count if function. So this is your range, it's your range, and your criteria, that is 1, close parenthesis, that is 4. So same thing applicable to the rest. So let's just no, let us copy. Let's copy. So count if your range, criteria 2, close, and the last one, that is the 3 versus 3, your count if, so your range and your criteria 3, close parenthesis. So that is what I have 10. So now to get the percentage, just put frequency here, percentage. Now you have your 4 divided by 10, that is a total, by 100. That's it. So you have the rest, just use this one. So that is done completely. So with this you can get your standard deviation, you can get the mean. The mean is also just normal average. That's just normal average. Okay, so but it is, and you can do an average or mean when you are dealing with a continuous what's it called, a continuous option or a continuous variable. Are we together now? So all these ones, all these things are in category, or let me say they are in closed, they are closed-ended questions. So take for example male and female. Now there's no how we can get the mean for sex, is not possible here. Now there's no how we can get the mean for sex, so you can't tell me that the respondents are either male nor female. It is not possible. Okay, so now we are done with this. So if your, let's do a data visualization of it. Probably your supervisor asks you to just get a map, a chart for that. So this is what you are going to do. So take for example, I want to get a chart for age. Let me show us now. I want to get a chart for age. This is our age. I want to get a chart for age. Now just using the age and the frequency alone, want to get a chart for that. So this is where you will go to, you come to visualize this now in form of charts. So this is what you are going to do. So we are trying to visualize the age in form of chart. Okay, so that is if your supervisor demands that from you. So this is what you are going to do. The first place you are going to go to is your insert here, and when you get there, there's something that you see some charts, as you can see them here. This is it, this place. Yeah. So you can now choose the one that is preferable. I choose the one that is preferable. If there is any one that your supervisor has assigned, can you see this is the column chart, this is the line chart, this is the pie chart, this is the bar chart, this is the area scatter and others chart. Okay, so now let's make use of column chart. But before you do that, the first thing you are going to do is just highlight the specific area you want to use. So this is it now, column chart. Let me just use 2D column. Now this is it, this is the chart now, as you can all see. This is the chart, this is a chart now. So here now you can easily know that students between the age of 15 to 17 has the highest frequency seen in this chart now. So you can edit it. If you want to edit your chart, you can just come here and edit it and edit it. So as long as you can just change the color from here as long as you want. So that is it. So now let's move to the next one. So you can do the same for the class, do the same for gender. Are we together now? So that is all about that. So now let's move to the multiple question analysis. How to analyze that? It's quite simple and it's still the same format. So it's still the same format we are using. So thank you for staying through. So now how can we analyze these multiple questions? So it's also the same thing. You are using descriptive analysis altogether. So now, so the first one, let's take for example the respondent. Choose yes, strongly agree. Strongly agree. So the next question, we choose agree, strongly agree, agree, strongly agree. Let me put this one as disagree. Okay, so now this is what we are going to do. The same way we code our options, the same way we are going to code these two. So now take for example, or let's code our strongly agree as 4. Our agree to be 3 and disagree to be 2 and our strongly disagree to be 1. I'm sure we can all see that. So if you want to analyze this one now, this is what we are going to do. Now I'm already in section B. I'm already in section B now. I'm already in section B. Okay, so I can just say that my section B1, so I can just put it as section or QB1. That is my question B, section B. So my section B1 or question B1. That is what I put it. So that represents this one. It represents this. It represents this. It represents this one. This number 1 now. That is what I use B1 to represent. Okay. So now take for example this respondent choose A. Or let me say the respondent choose strongly agree here. So this thing just move up a little. Strongly agree. Yeah. So instead of me writing A or SA, I will just put 4. Can we see now? I'll just put 4. So the next question, QB2 now. QB2. So this the question I'm using, all this QB1, if there is any other thing you can use to identify your question, it is okay. So this is what I can use to identify mine. So you can use any other thing. You can even write the whole question if you can, but that won't save your time because you are dealing with a large data set of 100 respondents, so you can't just be writing words like that. So my QB2 now represents what? The question B2 here. So does adolescent abuse by adolescent labor result in negligence in education? So the students choose A, that is agree. So instead of writing A, you can just put 3. Okay, so now same thing goes to our QB3. So let me just QB4. We have QB5 to QB6, and the last one is QB7. Yeah, so now we are in QB3 now. The respondents choose strongly agree, so you put 4. For your QB4, the respondents choose strongly agree 4. QB5, the respondents choose agree 3. QB6, the respondents choose strongly agree 4. And QB7, the respondents choose disagree. As you can see now, disagree. So you represent that with 2. So you are done with the first questionnaire now. So that is the same way you will do for the rest of the respondent or the rest of the questionnaire all together. So now let's just fill this up quickly. So now we are done with coding all our respondents, as you can see now. Sorry about that. So these are the multiple choice questions. Okay, so now let's go about the analysis. And it's still the same method, it's still the same function that we are using. So for strongly agree, now, let's use this as our SA. Let's use this as our A. Let's use this as our D. Let's represent it as our SD. Very good. So now for strongly agree, how do we want to know the number of respondents that choose strongly agree? Now using the same function, and let me just do it so that it will align with this. So let me just try to shift this one here. Yeah, so now I want to make it easy so that we can easily analyze the rest. Now strongly agree using the same function or count if function. This is the fourth one here. Now you highlight it, or you can use the code. Sorry, you can use the code that is from our D2. You have your column D11, so automatically it will highlight. So your criteria, and then we strongly agree, and we use 4 to code strongly agree. Now this particular place is telling us that is only 2 respondents that choose strongly agree here, and let's see if it is correct. We have this 1 and this is 2, so that is why it's giving us 2 here. Okay, so now let's use our autofill and do edge to know the rest data that choose strongly agree. So you can just drag to the last one. So automatically now it's telling us that under B2, none of them choose strongly agree. Under B3, just 2 respondents choose strongly agree. Under B4, 4 respondents choose strongly agree. Under B5, only 1. Under B6, 4. And under B7, you have just 2. So now let me try to bold this so that we can able to identify it. Just press your Ctrl B, or you can put it in any color that you want, but that is not what I'm doing now. So you strongly agree. Now use the same function, count if function, your range, comma. Now you're dealing with 3 because that's what we use to represent it. Now in this particular place, now it's telling us that there's only 2 respondents that choose 3, and let's check that. 3, can see 1 here, that is 1. We have another one here, that is 2. So it is very, very correct. So let's go to the next one. So you can use your autofill and the edge and draw. Yeah, so it's as simple as that. So under B2 now, 2, under B3, 2, under B4, 2, under B5, 3, under B6, 4, and under B7, 4. So the same thing applicable to your disagree. And what do we use here? We use 2, 2. You close our parentheses, and that is 4. It's telling us we have only 4 respondents that choose disagree. So you can use your autofill and your edge. You draw. Same thing applicable to your strongly agree. So you have your count if. So you highlight your range, comma, that is 1. Close our parentheses, press the equal sign, and you draw. Yes, so that's just how to calculate that, to know the frequency. Now this is just the frequency of the strongly agree, disagree, and strongly disagree of the questionnaire you have in your hands. Okay, So now to get the frequency is as simple as that too. So to get the frequency now, this is what you will do. So to get the frequency now, I just try to duplicate this actually. I just try to duplicate that. Okay. So to get the frequency, let me just do that so that we can easily identify what I'm doing. So to get the percentage rather, it's still the same thing. Your equal sign first for every function or formula you'll be doing. Your equal sign must start first, divided by 10. That is your total respondents. Probably you are dealing with 100 respondents or 120. So your total is what? 10. Okay, multiplied by 100. So there's your equal sign. Give us what? 20. So you can use the same autofill and edge to know for the rest. Very good. So now same thing applicable to agree here now. So you can also use the same thing. So you have your 2 comma 10 multiplied by 100, 20. Okay, so let's just use this one to do for the rest of them, everything. That is, you have your 40, and let's just draw down. That is also very easy, very simple, and very straightforward. So you can just use this one to start calculating, or start now. You can now interpret this in form of table. You can't really use charts to visualize this multiple choice question because it will be so crowded. Okay, so you can just visualize your result in form of table. Are we together now? So I can just show us a format about that. Okay, so we are done with the frequency. This is the frequency, and this is the percentage. So it's as simple as that. So let me just show us how to look on a table so that we can understand it better.